Get ready, Friar Faithful. This is the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network.
Jackson swings, hits it in the air, deep to right field. He has done it again. Unbelievable.
Coming up, we'll have a recap of the previous Padres game, a preview of today's starting pitching matchup, our keys to the game. Plus, we'll hear from manager Mike Shildt.
Ultimately, what we're here to do is win.
From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Today, the Padres take on the Pittsburgh Pirates in the final and rubber game of a 3-game series. Our starting pitching matchup today on the mound for the Pirates, left-hander Andrew Heaney, and for the Padres, right-hander Randy Vasquez. Hi, good everyone. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 2:10 p.m. as the Padres go for a series win. Coming up in the next 50 minutes, we have a lot to do. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. We'll hear from today's starting pitcher, Randy Vasquez. We check in with Padres radio voice Jesse Agler. In just a little bit, our keys to the game, a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, and much, much more. But first, it's time to set the table. Brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971 with 3 locations, La Mesa, Vista, and Oceanside, and at FraserFarmsMarket.com. Padres entered today 32-24. Today they go for a 3rd consecutive series win after winning 2 out of 3 from the Braves and Marlins. Padres entered today in 2nd place in the National League West, 3 games out of 1st place behind the LA Dodgers. After today's game, the Padres head out on a 7-game road trip to San Francisco and Milwaukee. Meanwhile, the Pirates are 22-37, 2nd worst record in the NL. However, the Pirates have won 7 of their last 11 games. Pirates can make it a 3 series wins in their last 4 with a victory here today. Well, the Padres and Pirates played the middle game of their 3-game series last night. Let's take a quick look back.
Did you miss what happened in the last Padres game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind on the Padres Radio Network.
Dylan Cease took the mound in the top of the 1st inning. Things did not get off to a great start for Dylan. O'Neal Cruz hit a leadoff double. Andrew McCutchen walked. Brian Reynolds was next.
Switch hitting Brian Reynolds, batting left-handed, 2 on, nobody out. Swings at the first pitch, loops it into shallow left. Cheat's going to have to play it on a couple of hops. That'll get a run home as O'Neal Cruz speeds all the way through. And an RBI single for Brian Reynolds has given the Pirates a 1-0 lead here in the 1st.
Cease did a good job after that. He retired 3 in a row to end the inning and keep it 1-0. Bailey Falter threw 3 scoreless innings to begin his night. In the top of the 4th inning, Cease got the first 2 outs, but then a double from Adam Frazier. Ke'Bryan Hayes was next.
3-1 from Cease. Look back at Frazier. Now the pitch. Hayes swings, lines it over Cease up the middle into center field, a base hit. Frazier racing around third base. Merrill's throw is on the way, not in time, as Frazier slides in feet first. An RBI single for Ke'Bryan Hayes, his first hit of the series, and the Pirate lead is now 2-0.
That's all the Pirates scored in the 4th inning. Cease took the mound at the top of the 5th. Andrew McCutchen led off.
First pitch to McCutchen, swung on, hit in the air, high and deep to left field. Gavin Sheets is back. He's at the wall looking up. It's going to go. Second deck in left for McCutchen. His 4th of the season and now 1 shy of Roberto Clemente in Pirate history. An add-on run here in the top of the 5th inning. It's 3-0.
Cease went 4 2/3 innings, allowed 3 earned runs. Falter pitched 6 scoreless innings to keep the Pirates ahead 3-0. He allowed just 2 singles through 6. Reynolds allowed a 1-out single in the 7th inning. Yuki Matsui came in. He gave up a single, an RBI double, a bloop RBI single. Pirates took a 5-0 lead. One silver lining of a 5-0 defeat yesterday for the Padres. Bradley Rodriguez came in, got the final 2 outs of the 7th inning on a double play ball. He pitched a scoreless top of the 8th inning, an inning and 2/3 scoreless in his major league debut. But again, the final score yesterday, Pirates 5 and the Padres 0. The Pirates' first win in their last 11 games against the Padres. And now the Padres will try to bounce back and pick up a series win on this Sunday. As always, if you want to get involved on our pregame coverage, you can do that in a number of different ways. You can find me on X at Sammy Lev, SammyLev. Instagram DMs open as well, Sammy Lev there too. You can also comment on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube stream. Let me know, what is your key to today's game? How do the Padres pick up a series win? Or if you just want to say hi, let me know who you are and where you're tuned in from, and I might just give you a shout out live here on the air. Let's go inside the Jerry Coleman Broadcast Center.
Let's take a trip up to the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup with Jesse Agler in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
Jesse, there are so many good stories you can talk about with the Padres so far this season. Maybe Gavin Sheets, maybe what Nick Pivetta has done his first year in San Diego. But I'll tell you what, Randy Vasquez, today's starting pitcher, really in that category as well. You look at what he's done in his last 5 starts or so, really what he's done throughout the course of the year. The numbers continue to be good, and it's been a pleasant progression, I would say, for Randy Vasquez. What do you think about what Randy's done so far this year, Jesse?
Yeah, I think progression's a nice word to use, and, the reminder that it's not always a straight line. Progress in baseball, like much of life, kind of goes up and down at times. But, look, the thing with Randy that I guess was quote-unquote easy is that the issue was fairly easy to identify. He's just walking a ton of guys. And look, very, very simple to sit here and say, all right, go walk fewer dudes. But to go out and actually execute it and do it is the hard part. And he's definitely done that his last few times out. Really, his start against the Pirates at the beginning of the May was the last time we saw kind of the traffic cop version of Randy Vasquez. And while you certainly give him some credit for being able to manage the walks a lot of the time, at least, that they showed up the last couple of years, it's not the way to get through this season. And so what we've seen the last few times out for Randy has been absolute progress. It's been great to see. He just gets such weak contact with the fastball. Opponents really have a hard time squaring it up. He's been leaning more on that pitch. He's been commanding that pitch, and because of all that, he's had a lot of success.
And we'll hear from Randy Vasquez a little bit later in our pregame coverage. Left-hander Andrew Heaney on the mound for the Pirates today. More on him later as well. And Jesse, the calendar flips to June today. And the reason I bring it up may be significant for a couple of guys. It was a rough month of May for Fernando Tatis Jr. Not a great finish to the month for Jackson Merrill. And for a team the last couple of days that's been struggling to find hits, it would seem that getting those two guys going in a new month would be very important.
No doubt about it. And while, the calendar, is by its nature very arbitrary and kind of random, it works in baseball. There is something to it. We kind of count things by months, in this game. And June has been Fernando's best month historically in his career. Wow. He's got the highest average in OPS in June that he does any other month. So that would certainly, be a welcome turn of events if that continued here in 2025. I'd be right. There's something right psychologically about, turning the page literally and figuratively on the calendar and just trying to say, all right, what's done is done. Start of a new month. Let's go fresh and go big. Now, on the other side of that, you got Manny Machado with like 344 in the month of May. He probably wanted May to have 60 days this season. But you're right. I think, with the way we've seen the Padre offense perform in the last few weeks, it would go a long way. Seeing something a little bit closer to what we saw in April from the guys like Tatis and Merrill.
Yeah, Fernando getting going, Jackson getting going would certainly go a long way. And Jesse, let's finish up with this. Obviously, final meeting, at least here in the regular season. Who knows with the Pirates? Maybe they make a big-time run. We see them in October. But for now, final meeting between these two teams in 2025. Padres have played very well against the Pirates the last couple of years. Just your thoughts on the Pirates, what they are this season. Obviously, some rumors, whether you want to believe them or not, about Paul Skeens. Would the Pirates try to trade him, maybe sooner rather than later? Your thoughts on where the Pirates are, both in this series and I guess in the overall picture here in 2025.
They're in a weird spot. They really are. I think they're an example of a franchise that isn't just isn't quite clicked. I mean, it seems from everything I understand and everything we've seen there, they're just not kind of rowing in the same direction. To give you something nautical for the Pirates, it's tough. I'm a big believer as a sports fan whose opinions have been informed by being around multiple, major league organizations in this sport and in others. That it really, really does begin at the top with ownership, and that's where the Padres have been so fortunate the last several years. first the stewardship of Peter Seidler and now his family. They've got it angled in the right way. They've brought in the leadership that executes that vision, and it has made a world of difference here. You can go back to Ron Fowler prior to that, really trying to turn this thing in a different way here in San Diego. I just don't get the sense that's what's happening in Pittsburgh. And, you could do a pretty easy academic exercise and look at all 30 teams in this sport. And if you want to dive into the other sports, it probably holds there as well. And you go, all right, who are the really, great owners? And look at where those teams are in the standings. Where are the owners who maybe don't seem to have it all figured out? Where are those teams in the standings? And, I mean, it's almost 100%. It really is. And I think, unfortunately, for the great fans in Pittsburgh, and it is a tremendous sports city, they love their teams. I know the Steelers get, so much of the love. The Penguins get a lot of love. The Pirates, when they give the city a reason to love them, they are loved. It's been very few and far between. They had that little pop. They got knocked out of a couple of wild card games. Prior to that, you got to go back to the early 90s for the last time they were really relevant. And it's a disappointing thing, I think, as a fan of this game. Because I'd put the Pirates on that list of franchises where, the game is better when they're better. The sport is better when they're better because they've got the great ballpark, because they've got the great fan support. And, I don't know what's going to happen with Skeens. My gut says it would just be the disaster of disasters to try and trade him. Even if you got a Juan Soto-like return. But they're in a weird spot. They really are. I mean, it's difficult to forecast any kind of, major changes for them in the near future. You never know. Like you kind of alluded to, they're playing better under Don Kelly, certainly, than they were under Derek Shelton. Looks like that change of voice has gone a long way for them here this year. But, I mean, the way I see it, not to be disrespectful or speak out of turn or anything like that, but the problem with the Pirates goes well beyond the manager's office, I think.
Well, they are playing a little bit better as of late, as you alluded to. They've won 7 of their last 11 games, going for a series win against the Padres here today. Hopefully the Padres have a say in that. Jesse, as always, appreciate the time. Very good insight. We'll talk to you and Bob Scanlon coming up at the top of the hour. As always, thanks so much, my friend.
You got it, Tim.
All right, that is Jesse Ackler joining us on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here on the Padres Radio Network as we get ready for today's game. Again, first pitch coming up at 2:10 p.m. Right-hander Randy Vasquez on the mound for the Padres. Left-hander Andrew Heaney on the mound for the Pittsburgh Pirates. We have a lot to do on our pregame coverage. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt coming up in a little bit, get his thoughts on Randy Vasquez. Also a pretty interesting answer from yesterday's pregame press conference from Mike on Manny Machado, so we'll hear about that as well. I go one-on-one with Randy Vasquez, today's starting pitcher, a little bit later, and we'll also tell you who's hot, who's not. Take a look at some headlines from around the major leagues, and much, much more to come. First pitch coming up at 2:10 here in downtown San Diego. You're tuned in to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. Don't go anywhere on this Sunday on the Padres Radio Network. EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we get ready for today's game. First pitch coming up at 2:10 p.m. Left-hander Andrew Heaney on the mound for the Pirates. Right-hander Randy Vasquez on the mound for the Padres. Everybody having a good time on this Sunday here inside the loft. Many people enjoying their beers and their mixed drinks, their different food items, all the great food they have here at Petco Park. I do see somebody with a balloon animal in front of me, so I don't know where they got that. That's pretty cool. I'm going to have to find out where they got the balloon animal. Got looks like a Little League team passing by. Hey, hope you have a good time at the game. All right, everybody having a good time inside the loft as we get ready for this series finale. Final game of this 6-game homestand here at Petco Park. Padres hit the road for a 4-game series in San Francisco beginning tomorrow, a 3-game series in Milwaukee next weekend, so a 7-game road trip beginning for the Padres starting tomorrow in San Francisco, and we will have each and every pitch of it for you right here on the Padres Radio Network, including with an EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show before each and every game. As we get ready for this series finale, let's hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt, served up by Sin Lee Food, where fresh meets flavor. Find farm fresh produce, bold Asian spices, and gourmet ingredients at 4665 El Cajon Boulevard. Sin Lee Food, the cook's Asian resource.
Well, we spoke a little bit earlier with Jesse Agler about how solid Randy Vasquez has been as of late. Mike Shildt talked about Randy, what he's done lately, yesterday, inside the Padres dugout.
He's been very efficient. He's more of a contact guy, so here it is, add, subtract. Maldy does a good job with him, getting guys off balance. Guys are going to be putting the ball in play. It's going to be early, typically, and then, we go play our defense behind him. But he's not going to shy away from contact, and he's going to get the contact, and he's going to look up and, be in that 5th, 6th inning range pretty much every day with, efficiency of pitches.
So some good thoughts there from Mike Shildt on Randy Vasquez. Again, I go one-on-one with Randy Vasquez a little bit later before we start against the Pirates today. Here was an interesting question, and I thought a very thoughtful answer from Mike Shildt during his pregame press conference yesterday. Take a listen.
Unprompted, Jackson postgame brought up how Manny works harder than anybody else and still sometimes takes heat because maybe he's not running out or ball or something like that. What is it that fans, people from the outside, don't see about Manny Machado and his work ethic?
That's a good question. I don't follow anything externally, and so the effort level is an interesting one for me. And I'm an effort level guy. Mental and physical effort are paramount in this game. I also have the appreciation of how hard the game is, and I'm not going to excuse if we're not going to give appropriate effort. But there's a professional effort that takes place as well, and Manny more than provides that. If you noticed yesterday before the game, that ones that were privy enough like myself to be here, we went through PFPs, and then we did a long ground ball session. And Manny was participatory with A+ effort in all of it. All right. Manny also has ever many years, 12-ish in the big leagues now. And has played. I think the most important thing everybody wants is Manny on the field and Manny being able to perform. And whether it's Manny or any of our position players, I get the fact that, and I was one of them, you show up, you pay your hard-earned money, and, you want to see the effort down the line at full 100%, go get them. And I get that. I also understand that there's a lot of other things that go into this game, and when we can conserve our energy, that's not going to compromise our competition, then I'm okay with that. And so when you hit a too hard to ground ball to shortstop, and you give the initial effort, and they throw it across the diamond, and you're out, the effort level just run as hard as you can still through the bag collegiately. Doesn't play in a 162 game plus season for player health. So I do understand, and Jackson rightfully, spoke up for Manny, but Manny's effort level does not need to be defended. And, but everybody has their own interpretation of that. But it definitely, it's appreciated by me. Doesn't need to be defended by anyone in this clubhouse.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt earlier this week inside the Padres dugout. I thought a really thoughtful, good answer there from Mike Shildt on Manny Machado, and a good look behind the curtain, if you will, on what Manny does on a day-to-day basis. Again, first pitch coming up at 2:10 here in downtown San Diego. Padres playing the rubber match of this 3-game series against the Pittsburgh Pirates, and we'll hear more from Mike Shildt on our post-game coverage coming up later on in the late afternoon, early evening with this 2:10 p.m. first pitch on this Sunday. Let's tell you who's hot, who's not.
Which player is locked in at the dish? Who needs to kick things up another notch? This is Who's Hot, Who's Not on the Padres Radio Network.
We begin with a look at the hot category. We'll keep Manny Machado in there. A 7-game hitting streak snapped last night. Took an 0 for yesterday. Still hit .370 in that span with 3 home runs, 2 doubles, and 5 RBIs. The not category, we take a look at Fernando Tatis Jr. Finished the month of May batting .184 and 103 at-bats with just a .626 OPS in the month of May. More on Fernando a little bit later. Luis Campusano not in the lineup today, 0 for 13 now so far this season after another 0 for last night. Does have 6 walks. Xander Bogaerts also in the not category. We'll have more on Xander coming up a little bit later on. And that's a look at who's hot, who's not as we get ready for this series finale. Now let's take you around the horn.
Let's examine the most important news and the latest information you need to know in the world of Major League Baseball. Sam Levitt takes you around the horn. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Get ready for Major League winning when you join Valley View Casino and Hotel's Players Club and receive over $200 in free instant offers. Visit valleyviewcasino.com to learn more today.
We told you yesterday about that crazy game in Phoenix last night. The Nationals scoring 9 runs against the Diamondbacks in the first inning before Arizona recorded the first out of the game. Well, how about this? Washington's 9 runs were the second most scored before a first out of a game since 1961. Nationals went on to beat the D-backs yesterday. It was a crazy first inning in Arizona yesterday. Yankees have lost 2 in a row against the Dodgers in L.A. However, something to note as we enter the month of June, Aaron Judge enters the month of June hitting .398. We'll see how Judge can, or I should say, we'll see how long Judge can flirt with .400. Rockies were looking to avoid a 50th loss in just 59 games this season as they took on the New York Mets in New York earlier today. Well, the bad news, the Rockies could not find a way to avoid that 50th loss of the season. Mets beat them 5-3 earlier today. So the Rockies became the quickest team to hit 50 losses in a season since the 1884 Kansas City Unions. It has been a really, really rough season so far for the Rockies as they dropped to a record of 9-50 on the season. Phillies announced today that they're moving righty Taijuan Walker from the rotation to the bullpen. Walker has posted a .353 ERA in 43-plus innings this season. Rangers slugger Adolis Garcia has been held out of the Texas lineup for the last handful of days. Rangers want the 2023 ALCS MVP to make some mechanical changes. Garcia was hitting just .155 in the past 20 games with 25 strikeouts for a Rangers offense that has really struggled so far this season. And finally, Red Sox putting reliever Justin Sladen on the 15-day IL earlier today with shoulder inflammation. And that's a look at headlines from yesterday and today around the major leagues. When we come back, we'll hear from Randy Vasquez. I go one-on-one with today's starting pitcher, plus a look at our keys to the game and much, much more to do as we walk you up towards first pitch coming up at 2:10 right here on the Padres Radio Network.
Hey,
Welcome back to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 2:10. Series finale of this three-game set between the Padres and the Pirates. Padres looking for a series win. Would be their third consecutive series win if they can get it today. Right-hander Randy Vasquez on the mound for the Padres today. We'll hear from Randy coming up in just a little bit. But first, let's tell you about the latest injury news regarding a trio of Padres pitchers.
Who's in? Who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
Well, I lied. I said a trio of Padres pitchers. I should have said a quartet of Padres pitchers. Let's start with Yu Darvish, who made one rehab start on May 14th and then dealt with some soreness afterward. He threw what was called a light bullpen on May 31st. So that was yesterday. On Saturday, expected to throw a more formal bullpen on June 2nd or 3rd in San Francisco, that according to MLB.com. Michael King dealing with a pinched nerve in his right shoulder. We know he was scratched from his scheduled start last Saturday, later diagnosed with a pinched nerve. Manager Mike Shildt said that tests revealed King's shoulder to be structurally sound, could resume throwing shortly. Still waiting for more information on what is going on with Michael King. Matt Waldron working his way back from that left oblique strain that he suffered during spring training. He did make a start for AAA El Paso on Friday. That was his fourth rehab start. So we'll see what the next order of business is for Matt Waldron, if he'll make another rehab start with AAA El Paso. Brian Hoeing also working his way back from a right shoulder strain. He has progressed on his rehab appearances to AAA El Paso as well. He's already made 2 appearances at AAA, and we'll see what the further information is this week on Brian Hoeing. You would imagine he may be getting close to a return, so we'll see what the information is this week on Hoeing and the rest of the Padres pitchers on the IL, including Yu Darvish, Michael King, Brian Hoeing, and Matt Waldron. And as we get updates on those guys, we'll be sure to pass them along. Let's give you our keys to today's game.
How will the Padres unlock a win today? These are the keys to the game. Presented by El Centro Motors Ford. Meet your new Ford General Manager, Greg Ryan, now at El Centro Motors Ford, your new Ford truck, Bronco, and SUV HQ. Call Greg directly at 619-944-0774.
Key number 1, play the hits. The Padres have a grand total of 5 hits in the first 2 games of this series. How about this? This was from Kevin Acee in the San Diego Union Tribune earlier this morning. Just 27 times in the franchise's previous 56 seasons had a Padres team failed to get at least 6 hits over a 2-game span. Well, last 2 games, that now counts as one of those instances. Last night, the Padres, with their 5 hits in a 2-game span, they had 5 hits in a 2-game span, less than 6 hits for the first time since 2015. So it has not been a great couple of days for the Padres offense. Thank goodness they won one of the games, but 5 hits in 2 games, that's not going to get it done. We'll see if the Padres can rack up the hits here today. Play the hits. That's key number 1. Key number 2, the X-Man, Xander Bogaerts, is 10 for 18 with 3 home runs and 2 doubles. Lifetime against Pirates starter Andrew Heaney. Bogaerts went 2 for 2 with a walk against him in the Padres' first meeting against Heaney in early May. Maybe a date with Heaney is just what the doctor ordered for Bogaerts. He has typically hit very well against Heaney in his career. Key number 3, a better bullpen. Since the start of May 6th, the Padres bullpen has a 6.35 ERA, the 3rd worst in the major leagues. It was a major league best 1.68 prior to that point. Now, some of those numbers are a little bit deceiving. The Padres bullpen has gone through some really, really rough stretches, some really, really good stretches in that span as well. Jason Adam, the only Padres reliever with an ERA under 3.50 in that span. But the Padres bullpen has got to be good, got to be more consistent. That's key number 3. Key number 4, limit Kutch. Andrew McCutchen launched his 4th home run of the year yesterday. With his next home run, McCutchen will tie Roberto Clemente for third all-time in Pirates franchise history in home runs. Clemente hit 240 in his career. McCutchen right now with the Pirates at 239. McCutchen has been great in this series so far, 4 for 8 so far in this series. Key number 5, don't let Reynolds rake. Brian Reynolds is hitting .388 with 14 RBIs in his last 13 games. He's also had a great series, 5 for 8 with 3 RBIs so far in this series. More on the Pirates offense. After going 26 consecutive games, scoring 4 runs or fewer, which tied a major league record, the Pirates have scored 5 or more runs in 6 of their last 9 games, and they have other guys hitting the ball well right now. O'Neal Cruz is slugging .667 with 4 home runs, 8 RBIs, and 10 runs scored in his last 10 games. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa hitting .344 in 17 games since coming off the IL. So don't be fooled by the record. This Pirate offense has been better as of late. Cruz, Kiner-Falefa, Reynolds, McCutchen, all guys to watch in this lineup. Keep an eye on those guys. Don't let them finish this series on a high note. That's key number 5, and that's a look at our keys to today's game. When we come back here on the Padres Radio Network, we'll hear from Padres starting pitcher Randy Vasquez. We'll also take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, and we'll also tell you what to watch for in today's game. First pitch coming up at 2:10 here on the Padres Radio Network. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 2:10 against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Military Sunday on the Padres Radio Network is presented by your San Diego County Toyota dealers. Every new Toyota comes with Toyota Care no-cost maintenance standard, so you get peace of mind standard. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
Finals from around the major leagues today. Astros beat the Rays 1-0 in Houston. Tigers beat the Royals 1-0 in Kansas City. Giants 4, Marlins 2 in Miami. Mets beat the Rockies 5-3 in New York. Francisco Lindor, a home run in that game for the Mets. Guardians beat the Angels 4-2. Blue Jays beat the A's 8-4. Brewers beat the Phillies 5-2. Orioles beat the White Sox 3-2. Red Sox 3, Braves 1 in Atlanta. Rangers 8, Cardinals 1 in Arlington. Games going on right now. Nationals and the Diamondbacks in Arizona, top of the third. 3-0 Arizona leading. Twins and the Mariners scoreless in the third in Seattle. Cubs leading the Reds 7-2 in the 8th inning at Wrigley Field. And only one other game yet to begin. 4 p.m. Sunday Night Baseball. Yankees and the Dodgers in L.A. And that is a quick look at the out-of-town scoreboard. We'll have more on those games coming up a little bit later on this Sunday. Well, Randy Vasquez on the mound for the Padres. We'll get a little bit deeper into what Randy's done coming up a little bit later in this segment, but he continues to be very, very good for the Padres as of late. Here was my conversation with Randy Vasquez alongside interpreter Jorge Merlos. Randy, how do you feel about the way you've thrown as of late?
¿Cómo te sentiste? ¿Cómo has tirado la pelota en estas últimas salidas?
En realidad, he visto situaciones que he tirado la pelota súper bien, como hay situaciones que ha puesto el ajuste y en mejorar, y gracias a Dios estamos por el camino correcto, que es comer y poner el equipo a ganar.
Yeah, I feel like I've been turning the page a little bit and being able to make the adjustments that I've needed to do while I've gone out there these last couple starts. And, you know, I feel like it's a good turn of the page that we're getting into in these next couple starts.
One thing that's really stood out as of late, your walks are down. The command has seemed overall to be better. What's contributed to the walks being down?
¿Qué es la atribución para llegar a esa base por bola que ha bajado en estas últimas salidas?
En realidad, la base por bola yo estuve notando en mis videos, en mis salidas anteriores, cuando comenzó la temporada, que quería sobresalir, o sea, quería sobrehacer las cosas. No confío en el start que yo tengo y lo he venido implementando eso ahora en el stack que yo tengo, y controlar las situaciones de juego y pensar en sacar out o punchar a una gente.
I think I've just looked at my previous starts from the earlier in the season and last year, and just seeing that I've kind of overdid it on my throws and on my pitches that I've gone out there out on the field. So I think just coming back to myself and saying, okay, how well I can do the job here more often. And it's either I'm going to, get him hit or I'm going to strike him out.
When you say overdid it on your throws, Randy, does that mean you felt like you were overthrowing? Has it been about taking something off what you're doing?
Si era como que te estabas sobrepasando de tus tiros, o si estabas haciendo mucho, cómo eran las cosas. ¿Qué pensaste?
En realidad estaba sobrehaciendo. Sobrehaciendo quiere decir que no ejecutando el picheo que me pedían, sino que me quería, por ejemplo, me pidían recta alta, quería jalar, quería sobretirar, entonces ese no soy yo. Entonces comenzamos a experimentar nuevas técnicas y gracias a Dios se están viendo los resultados, que estoy disminuyendo la base por bola.
Yeah, I think I was just overdoing it. Sometimes when it was called for a fastball up and away, I kind of just pulled it sometimes. So I think now in these past couple times I've gone out there, we've done some new techniques to be able to limit those walks that I've done.
What are some of those new techniques you've worked on?
¿Qué son algunas de esas técnicas que has estado haciendo?
En realidad lo que me ha dado resultado es controlarme, tener un autocontrol en la mecánica y olvidar los pensamientos negativos, que si me dan un hit, obviamente me dieron un hit, fue que todo, yo puedo sacar el bateador que viene de out o puedo conseguir un gran ball.
Yeah, I think it's just mentally just making sure that those negative thoughts don't come into my head. Like, obviously, if they get a hit, they get a hit, and just move on from there. It could be a ground ball or something. It goes through the hole, but I'll get through it afterwards. So for me, it's just not worrying about those things that happen in the game and just focus on me attacking the next guy.
Padres starting pitcher Randy Vasquez joining us right now alongside interpreter Jorge Merlos. Finally, Randy, something that's been consistent with you, even going back to last year, when you get into trouble, when you have guys on base, in so many cases, you find a way to get out of it. To you, what's the biggest key in getting out of those types of situations?
¿Cuál pensás es la mejor clave que tenés para salirte en esas situaciones cuando están corredores en base?
En realidad, la clave de todo eso es yo confiar en el staff, obviamente, y tirar la bola sobre strike, que pueda pasar cualquier cosa, como me puedo dar un jonrón, pienso yo, como me puedo dar un jonrón, como puedo sacarlo out, como puedo terminar el inning. Entonces, esas son las cosas que yo he experimentado ahora en esa salida, y me he dado cuenta que me ha dado resultado tener positivismo.
It's just thinking about what the outcome can be. What is this pitch going to result in? Is it going to result in a home run, or is it going to result in a strikeout? Is it going to result in a ground ball? So it's kind of like thinking of those situations and seeing, okay, what's the best pitch that I can throw in this count or in this situation that has helped me to get out of those.
Randy, best of luck with your start. And as always, thanks so much.
Thank you.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For. Presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovementsSD.com.
What to watch for in today's game, the series finale between the Padres and the Pirates. Will Jackson Merrill and Fernando Tatis Jr. bring the boom in June? Fernando finished the month of May with a 184 batting average after hitting 345 in March and April. He had just the 626 OPS in the month of May. That batting average and OPS were both the worst in any calendar month in Fernando's career. Jackson Merrill has hit just 180 in his last 16 games to finish May. So, what am I looking for in today's game? Will the turn of the calendar to June bring better fortune for Jackson Merrill and Fernando Tatis Jr.? Both those guys, as we know, incredibly important to this Padres lineup. Fernando leading off today playing right field. Jackson batting cleanup playing center field. And those two guys get it going in a new month. That's what to watch for in this series finale. Now let's dive into our starting pitching matchup between Andrew Heaney and Randy Vasquez.
Let's take a look at who's on the bump today with our starting pitching preview on the Padres Radio Network.
Left-hander Andrew Heaney on the mound for the Pirates, 33 years old in 2025. He's 3-4 with a 3.41 ERA, 11 starts, 60 innings and 2/3, 50 hits given up. He struck out 44 and walked 24. Last start against the D-backs, he went 5 innings, 5 earned runs given up, 8 hits, and 2 home runs given up. Heaney posted a 2.25 ERA in his 3 starts before that one in Arizona. He started the month of May against the Padres in Pittsburgh, went just 3 2/3 innings and allowed 4 earned runs on 8 hits in that start against the Padres. Gave up a home run to Elias Diaz in that game. Heaney has traditionally been very good against the Padres, a 1.99 career ERA against them, 3 outings at Petco Park, a 1.65 ERA in this building. So we'll see if Heaney can keep it rolling in this building today. Right-hander Randy Vasquez on the mound for the Padres, 3-4, a 3.58 ERA in 11 starts so far this season, 55 innings and a third, 32 strikeouts, and 27 walks. His last start against the Marlins, 6 innings and a third, 3 earned runs given up, 6 hits. He struck out 5 and walked 1. Randy was really good in the month of May, a 2.89 ERA in 5 starts. He went 5 innings, gave up just 1 earned run on 6 hits against the Pirates to begin May, but he did walk 5 in that game. And again, walks continue to be one of the things that Randy's really limited as of late. His last 4 starts, he's walked 3. His first 7 starts, he walked 24. So Randy will try to keep his command there again today. Vasquez has been very good at Petco Park this season, a 2.57 ERA this season here in downtown San Diego. And that's a look at our starting pitching matchup between Andrew Heaney and Randy Vasquez. As always, thank you for listening to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. Your water should be perfect. Well, it's the rubber game of this 3-game series. Padres winning on Friday, Pirates winning yesterday. Which team will take home a series win? Well, we're going to find out in just a little bit. When we come back, Jesse Ackler, Bob Scanlon come your way. They have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and all the play-by-play. I'll talk to you on our post-game coverage. You're listening to your home for San Diego Padres baseball, 97.3 The Fan, and the Padres Radio Network.